Everything's working great! All systems go, full speed ahead! Uh-oh! What's this? No! Ah! I'm out of control! Mayday! Mayday! Going down! Ah! Look out below!
Miles Prower, but you could just call him Tails, the 8-year-old engineering genius who's had Sonic's back since Sonic 2 on the Genesis. Miles is a very kind and gentle soul who was at first pretty timid and couldn't really do much for himself. It didn't help that he was always picked on for his very obvious birth defect, that being that he has 2 tails. That was until he met Sonic, who was so cool to Miles that he couldn't help but idolize him. Sonic was even the one who gave Miles his now iconic nickname, as well as the one who suggested to him a pretty useful idea to do with his twin tails, which would become his trademark ability, using them to fly like a helicopter. Since then, Miles has always been at Sonic's side, helping him in whatever way he could, including upgrading Sonic's plane, the Tornado. And as the days went on with Sonic, Miles would find a new identity with himself as Tails, who's become a lot more confident, brave, and has grown into his own hero, leaving the timid crybaby Miles as a thing of the past. Character development! Tails as a Smash fighter would be pretty fast, not nearly as fast as Sonic. In fact, I'd put him about on par with another certain fox in the Smash games. And he'd have a lot of aerial game with his movements, but he would be less than strong and pretty light, being easy to KO. He'd have a total of 3 jumps, having him gain height with his twin tails to reach double jump, and he'd be able to crawl. Tails would have a 3-hit jab that would mimic his jab attack from Sonic Battle, with some innovation. His first 2 hits would be a punch from each hand, and the last hit would be a smack from his tails. In Sonic Battle, the second punch and tail smack were actually reversed, but that looks weird, so I switched them for this moveset to make it look less wonky. His dash attack would be a move from the game Sonic Fighters, which is actually where a lot of Sonic's attacks in Smash come from. He would fly straight forward with his head at the front for a lunging headbutt. It would go a fair distance, but would have some end lag. Tails' side tilt would be an extending double kick, just like Sonic's side tilt. This is also an attack that Tails has in Sonic Fighters. I feel it appropriate for some of Tails' attacks to purposefully mimic Sonic's, as he is Tails' hero, so of course Tails would have some attacks that were inspired by Sonic. His up tilt would have Tails swing his arms overhead wildly, a Sonic Fighters move, and his down tilt would be a low to the ground spinning tail sweep, a move that would technically be able to hit twice, because of course. Tails' side smash would be a quick forward clap with both hands straight forwards. This is one of Tails' stronger attacks in Sonic Fighters, much to the same vein as Sonic's side smash with his wind-up punch. His up smash would come from Sonic Battle, and it would incorporate one of Tails' many inventions, the Magic Hand. It would have a spring-loaded hand emerge from the ground right in front of Tails and punch straight upwards, and it would go a little bit higher than Tails. This attack is only capable of hitting foes in front of Tails' Y-axis, much like Palutena and Bayonetta's up smashes. His down smash would be the Magic Hook attack from Sonic Battle, having Tails spin the magic hand around his body to hit foes on both sides. And coming yet again from Battle, Tails' neutral air would have him perform his Typhoon attack, which would have him do 2 quick spins while swinging his tails horizontally out. This move would halt falling momentum for the first time it's used in the air, and Tails would be able to move slightly left or right while using it, allowing for some decent aerial movement options. His forward air would be a forwards jab kick, which is an attack that we see him use in Fighters. This attack can hit up to 3 times if the button is pressed consecutively. The back air would have Tails do a single spin while having his tail strike backwards and then kick backwards with his foot, a 2-hit attack that we see him use in Fighters. The up air would have Tails spin his tails upwards like he uses for flight, with his tails being the damaging part of this attack. It would hit multiple times before launching the foes with the final hit. It would also send Tails upwards a little bit, so it can be used as a type of recovery option, but it does have some end lag. This attack simply references to how Tails' Well, Tails can hurt enemies when he uses them to fly. And his down air would be a double spiking stomp kick, an attack usable in fighters. This attack is also of course capable of spiking opponents. Tails would grab with both arms, and his pummel would have him step on the foe's foot, which is something we see him do in fighters. Wow, Tails rude. That said, all of his throws come from fighters, or at least reference it. His forward throw would have Tails pick the foe up while flying, then lunge them forwards and toss them away. His back throw would have him lift the foe up, then toss them overhead. The up throw would have Tails pick the foe up, lift them high into the air, then slam them into the ground, bouncing them upwards. And the down throw would have him spin dash into the foe, dealing lots of damage before knocking them away, just like Sonic's down throw. Tails' neutral special attack would be his Rapid Tails attack, his unique and signature attack from the Sonic games. Simply tapping the button would have Tails do a quick 360-degree spinning tail attack that could hit on both sides. Holding the button down would have Tails spin continuously, which is something that we see him do in Sonic Adventure after he obtains the Rhythm Badge. He can move left and right as he spins, and if used in the air, it would slow his descent. But if the button is held down for too long, let's say for about 8 seconds, Tails will automatically stop spinning and just get dizzy.
Wow, my head's spinning!
Leaving him vulnerable until he shakes it off, which would be determined by how high his damage percent is. If he's in the air after the attack runs out of time, he'll just go into freefall. Tails' side special would have him use his red arm cannon and fire an energy ball, his shot attack from Sonic Battle. If used on the ground, Tails would just fire a single energy projectile that fires horizontally. It would move kinda slow, but would deal big damage, a great tool for pressuring opponents. If this attack is used in the air, Tails would fire at a downwards diagonal angle, just like he does in battle when he uses the attack as his air shot. It would move a little faster than when used on the ground, but it wouldn't hurt as much. It would also propel Tails backwards a little bit when he uses it. Now for Tails' up special, which is so obvious that it almost feels like cheating. That's right, he would bounce off a spring that would spawn underneath his feet, just like for Sonic's up special. No, it would of course have Tails fly like he naturally does with his twin tails. This special would work mechanically just like it does in the classic Sonic games. Using the up special would have Tails begin to fly. Holding down the special button while flying would have him ascend, while letting go of the button would have him descend. He can stay in the flying animation indefinitely, but by default he'll slowly float downwards while in the state. Tails is only able to ascend for a total of 3 seconds before he gets tired and begins to automatically descend, which would have him float down slightly faster than he would if he was in his normal flight animation. He'll never go out of his descend animation though, allowing the player to slowly guide the Folly Fox into any needed direction. The player is able to force Tails into freefall at any time by simply holding down on the control stick. And the spinning tails during the animation can hurt foes, but they would only deal small damage and would knock foes a fixed distance away. And for Tails' down special, it would be the Spin Dash, and it would work almost just like Sonic's Spin Dash down special that's in Smash.
Gosh, man, another Spin Dash? Doesn't Sonic already have like a bajillion of those for his moveset? Why don't you give Tails something original, you stupid idiot dummy?
Now, here, come here. Let me ask you something. Where do you think Sonic learned to use his Spin Dash in the first place? He learned it from Tails. Yep! When Sonic gave Tails the idea to use his tails for flight, Tails also came up with the Spin Dash and taught it to Sonic. Hence why we don't see the Spin Dash until Sonic 2, the game where Tails was first introduced. Using the down special would have Tails roll up into a ball and dash forwards. Mashing the special button will charge the dash up, causing it to go even farther and faster upon its release depending on how much it was charged. He's also able to jump while dashing and can attack out of it, just like Sonic. The only difference with Tails' compared to Sonic's is that it would be a tad slower, but it's able to jump higher. Makes sense. Tails' final smash would be a cinematic final smash that would also be similar to another certain Fox in Smash. It would have Tails call in the Tornado 2, which will fly by the screen right in front of Tails. If any player is hit by it, Tails will hop into the plane and begin pumping heavy artillery into the caught foes, dealing big damage to them and launching them away when the cinematic ends. For colors, the first 6 alternate colors would all be references to 6 of the Chaos Emeralds, not including the yellow one since, Tails by default is already yellow. And he would have a single alternate costume, where he could wear his outfit that we see him in the spin-off series Sonic Boom. Tails' stage entrance would have him fly in with the tornado and hop out as the plane passes by. You know, Tails actually does that a lot. Does it have an autopilot function, or does he just let it crash somewhere to give himself an excuse to build a new one?
Time to crack that Eggman wide open! Yeah, let's party!
Tails' first taunt would have him pondering to himself for a second, an idle animation that he has in Sonic Adventure 2 while he's in the Chow Garden. His second would have him sneeze so hard that it lifts his body into the air as his tail spin, an idle animation that he has in Sonic Boom. Bless you. And his final taunt would have him lift himself off the ground with his tail spinning underneath, and slowly spin playfully. And for victory animations, his first would have him jump up and down excitedly twice, then pose, an animation that he has from Sonic Fighters after winning matches. He would also say,
I must be getting stronger!
His second would have him do a backflip, then pose, his winning animation in Sonic Adventure. He'd also shout,
I did it, Sonic!
And his final victory animation would have him fly in with the tornado and wave towards the camera from the cockpit while saying,
All's well that ends well, right?
And that does it for Miles Tails Prower. Definitely a character that a lot of people want to see join the Smash roster. He would certainly bring a nice compliment to what we already have, that's for sure. If you'd like to see your favorite character be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below. Or contact me on Twitter at RalphFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching!